Oh, Braverman won't be happy, because good weather allowed the flight across the English Channel to England to increase recently. In the past week alone, more than 2,500 people have reached British shores, and more than 10,000 refugees and migrants have crossed the English Channel from France to Britain in small boats since the beginning of the year. And this is the result of figures released by the British Home Office on Sunday. Although the number is lower than in the same period last year, crossings have recently increased again due to the better weather conditions. And according to the counts, more than 2,500 people, as I said, reached the British coast between June 10th and 17th. According to this, the authorities registered 374 people who arrived in Great Britain in 7 boats on Saturday alone. And this brought the total number of arrivals on this dangerous route to 10,139 since the beginning of the year. And their fight against illegal immigration is one of the priorities of the Conservative government in London. But even with its tightened migration policy, it has so far had problems deterring those wanting to enter the country this way. Last year, Britain passed legislation to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. However, the project is currently blocked by the British judiciary. And a controversial new law would prevent migrants arriving across the English Channel from applying for asylum here. But not only against refugees, even against demonstrators should be taken even harder measures than before. An attempt to stop the tightening of the Public Order Act has failed, and this will primarily affect the protests of climate activists. The British government has again taken steps to restrict the right to demonstrate, bypassing Parliament in the process. A tightening of the Public Order Act, which had actually already been rejected by the House of Lords, was enforced by regulation on Tuesday evening. An attempt by the British Greens to stop the regulation failed, and critics spoke of a constitutional scandal. They expressed concern that the government could continue to govern by decree if the House of Lords did not wave their bills through. And with the Public Order Act, which came into force at the beginning of May, forms of protest such as chaining or sticking to objects and other people were made a criminal offence. And the government wants to suppress forms of protest that have recently been used by climate activists. However, an attempt to broaden the definition of illegal protest to include anything that causes disruption more than in a minor way has failed due to opposition from the House of Lords. But this wording has now found its way back into the law via the ordinance. And this also gives the police, for example, the discretion to prohibit slow-moving demonstration trains. Shortly before the coronation of King Charles III happening, when the law came into force, that was the basis for the arrest of opponents of the monarchy during the procession on Coronation Day and caused heated controversy. So you see, in many parts of regulations, first the refugees, then demonstration, and many other places, there is a more and more authoritarian stance in this government. Even if Sunak was considered to be far more modest than Boris Johnson, but the people he had to get into his cabinet because he needed their wings of the party, so to speak, is what's causing this. And Sunak really looks a bit helpless in these cases. So he does look weak, and there could be a chance for a Bojo, no matter what everything else is happening around him. But there is a lot we have to expect in the future. And if you want to know more about right now, there's another video right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.